like to sing and chant and learn rhymes. So my father started teaching me the Yoga Sutras and chanting maybe when I was 5 or 6. The same for Ganesh as well. I think I taught Ganesh. There's a tape of me teaching Ganesh. My parents have been practicing and teaching for more than 40 years now. So Ganesh and myself grew up with yoga. It was more a way of life, something we did pretty much in every aspect of life. And I feel very blessed today that I was given a lot of the ancient wisdom and learning right from when I was quite young. And I'm happy to be able to share that today through my own practice and teaching. In the sense, I do remember him quite well. Maybe what I most fondly remember is the almonds and the raisins he used to give us every time we visited, because when we used to prostrate before him, he would give us whatever he had offered that day as part of his ritual. So he used to have almonds and raisins or dates, which he used to give us every time. Those are probably the memories I have. And of course, of his centenary celebrations, I remember quite vividly of the grand celebrations that were held when he was for his 100th year birthday. And I also, there was a CD in which I sang and in front of him as well. And my father was the convener of those celebrations at that time. So it's a lot of memories, part of my growing up. My father has so many tapes of him chanting with Krishnamacharya. Similarly, my father taught me all of it first orally. And I also learned music hand in hand from my grandmother, who was a musician who lived with us, mother's mother. And so I went on to do my degree in music as well, because it was something that was very much linked to the ancient practices of yoga as well. And I also learned both the streams of Indian classical music, which are the North Indian and the South Indian styles, and I also learned a bit of Western music and piano to understand the fundamentals of the notes and the scales, which are quite universal. Sound is something that plays such an important role in all the ancient texts, whether it is in the form of mantras or pranayama, chanting, the 8 limbs of yoga. Sound is such an integral part of the ancient practices and wisdom. And music also has a very ancient history in India. There are 2nd century and 3rd century BC texts, the Natya Shastra, which talk about the links between sound and emotions, emotional well-being, because when we're talking about yoga, it's really about self-care and well-being, not just what we do on the mat. So it all integrates very beautifully because sound forms a link between body, breath, mind, all the practices that we do, in fact. Whereas we will talk about perspectives on sound from the ancient texts, we will talk about the modern neuroscience, vagus nerve perspective on sound. We will talk about the musical perspective on sound. And of course, the chanting and, why and how should I be doing chanting? What is a mantra? Who is it useful for? Should I be given my mantra? Can I choose my own mantra? Can I change my mantra? In essential, what is the underlying fundamental basis of all of this? Understanding that will help to very easily integrate it into your daily life and practice, either as a student or as a teacher. Sound is also very useful in therapy, whether it's to do with, trauma release, or whether it's to do with the positive psychology practices, or whether it's with mindfulness, awareness, stability, building with sound. So sound is also very useful as a therapeutical tool. So we will look at it from a practical perspective of first integrating it into our daily lives. And then, of course, how can I use this as a therapy? How can I use it to help others as well? Who's interested in learning a little bit more about using their own voice. And for any teacher or student of yoga who wishes to learn a little deeper the links between, say, pranayama, mantras, yoga sutras, or someone who's maybe just interested in music, the universality of, music as a base for working with emotions. So anyone who's basically interested in any of these areas, and also interested in integrating into their own field of work, because this is also a universal platform, just as in yoga therapy, when Ganesh teaches it, it's taught as a platform to bring into whatever practices that you already do and teach and work with. So sound is also a tool where you can bring into your own field of practice and work as well.